Climate Change and Energy Minister Chris Bowen made an ominous statement to the Electric Vehicle Summit in Canberra on Friday. Quote, "Now is the time to have an orderly and sensible discussion about whether fuel efficiency standards could help improve the supply of electric vehicles into the Australian market," unquote. Well, when a Labor politician says we need to have an orderly and sensible discussion, he means you need to remain orderly while he makes nonsensical demands. The fuel efficiency standards to which he referred are just another way of saying he wants to reward dealers for selling battery-powered cars and punish them for selling petrol-powered ones. This is what he calls, quote, choice. Electric cars are expensive and unpopular for good reason. They can't go on long trips because they take 8 hours to recharge after 5 hours of driving. They also depreciate quickly. Bowen knows this, which is why he needs to coerce you into buying one. And if you don't buy a car at all because traditional ones are too expensive, then Bowen still won't mind. He promised his friends at the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change in June that he would reduce Australia's emissions by 43% by 2030, which he can't do without either filling the roads with electric cars, taking petrol-powered cars off the road, or both. But even car buyers whose choice is influenced by environmental concerns won't necessarily share Bowen's affection for the battery-powered variety. It's chilling to think how fast this is all happening and how acceptable these policies have become. An Australian government has announced it will manipulate the market for cars to make it harder for you to choose the cheapest, most reliable model for you. And he's doing this because of climate change, which, as we've been told, is the main cause of floods, fires, droughts and cyclones. It's also responsible for, if you believe the so-called experts, childhood obesity. Anyway, to explain where Bowen's electric car policy will take us, let's bring in Alexandra Marshall of the Spectator Australia. Alexandra, welcome to the show.
It is an absolute pleasure to be here.
First, let's get down to the key point for consumers. Are these electric cars better, and do they perform better than traditional petrol cars?
Well, first of all, the best thing to look at is the market, because markets are very smart when it comes to working out what a good product is and what a bad product is. And early on in the electric car market, you saw that almost no one was taking them because they are expensive and they had a short range and there wasn't the infrastructure to support them. But as the product got better, particularly with Tesla, we saw a few more people taking them on, mostly people who had plenty of money. So if they made a mistake, it wasn't the end of the world. Now, this led to Tesla in particular competing to make a better product. However, it still hasn't been a good enough product at a good enough price to convince the majority population to switch out their petrol and diesel cars. Now in Europe, because they weren't getting anywhere with their ideological push, they decided to start sweeten the deal. They took big tax concessions, they gave them free parking, and even with these enormous government pushes, they still can't get more than a small percentage of people to take them up. Now that is a great indicator that Australians and other people around the world don't see e-cars as the solution. Hybrids, closer, they don't mind the hybrid version, but that's basically having green virtue with a backup oil rig. So people are still comfortable with that. But no, I think that e-cars have a little way to go before they be considered a good product in their own right. Everything else to the side.